Hi guys!
Welcome back to the Him and Her podcast. On episode 2, he's him.
And there's her.
There's her.
There's her.
She's her.
There's her.
Second episode and you fuck it up.
Don't you dare start. Don't you dare. This is like take 37 of this podcast.
Oh, shut up, no, it's not. So we'll get the bad news out the way. We lost the Euros yesterday. We actually stayed up and watched it. We've never watched football ever. But Riley actually wanted to watch it because I was allowed to stay off school until 11 o'clock today because of it.
Say watched it very loosely.
Well, me and Riley watched it.
It
You was on your phone most of the time,
It
to be
was
honest.
on. Yeah, Riley wasn't really watching it half the time. He was on his knees on the floor facing the sofa looking at a bowl of crisps. Which were football shaped, so technically he was watching the footballs, but just not the football.
Well, I kind of enjoyed it, actually.
It was just dirty. I couldn't have been a ref in it.
No.
Literally, if I was the ref, that game would have had to have been played, and they would have to have replayed it with a whole different squad. When the Italian geezer grabbed him, like, round the neck and ragged him back and threw him on the floor, that, to me, is flat out assault. It'd be different if it was rugby. Because you could be like, I tried to grab hold of him and I just got his collar and that's what caused. You shouldn't be doing that in the first place. That's flat out assault. If I was walking, if I was in the pub and I wanted to get to the bar before the geezer in front of me and I grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and yanked him back and threw him on the floor,
I agree.
I'd be going to prison.
When will we put in the jingle for this?
About now. You're going to tell them why you're purple now and not grey.
Was it grey before?
I'm sure it was grey.
It
was kind of white when it finished. Oh God, no. Tell them quickly why.
Willow woke up and just screamed for about 45 minutes. And she threw up on me, so I've had to change my top.
Yeah.
So, sorry for the incontinuity.
What have you been up to this week, apart from watching the football, because we're not mentioning football from this point on? I've just been having a breakdown. That's been my my go-to today, I think.
Or just today?
Well, the whole time. For a while, really.
A few years or so.
Yeah. It's been mostly since my hair started falling out. And
Are you going to talk about that?
And I've just gone more and more mental. I think I'm losing my hair and I'm losing my mind at the same time.
Oh my God. I wasn't expecting you to talk about that.
Why?
It's
not something I'm ashamed of.
I know, but you're a bit self-conscious about it.
Yeah, but I'm just... that's why my hair's the way it is, because it can kind of go back and half cover it. It's this nice big bit. That's why I've been shaving it loads. Can you even see it then?
Yeah,
Did I go far enough?
You can see it, yeah.
It started off as a tiny, tiny little thing like this, and when you shaved my head, didn't you? Well, you just buzzed it.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, you've got a bit of hair missing here. I was like, oh, it's a scarf where I've been twatted.
Yeah.
And then the next time it was like a little bit bigger and you're like, I think this is growing. I was like, no, it's just because you've cut it a bit closer.
Yeah.
And then the next time it was like, it's the size of a penny now.
And you were like, you never told me it was growing that much. I was like, well, I did.
Well, no. Because the way you do, like, you have the
weirdest... Oh, you're
weirdest...
blaming me?
I'm fully blaming you.
Okay.
For me not understanding. You have either no level of urgency or extreme level of urgency. You don't understand anything that's between them.
I do, it just depends what it's about.
But you don't do anything between them. You might understand, but you don't do anything. So, like, when you was on about my hair, you're like, oh, it looks like it's got a bit bigger. I'm like, no, it'll just be where you've cut thinking, And that was kind of it. And then you're like, it's getting bigger. And I'm like, what do you mean by it's getting bigger? You're like, well, not much. It just looks a bit bigger to me. And then it was like, yeah, it's this big now. Gone from a little tiny thing. Like, what do you mean?
The thing is, with the patch that's missing, like, as it's getting bigger, the middle bit's starting to grow back. Mm-hmm. But it's growing back with no pigment to it at all. It's like transparent hair.
But yeah, I think since that started happening, I've just slowly lost the plot more and more. It's not actually bald.
Well, around the edges is a little bit.
I can very, very clearly feel the hair there, and like when it's just been shaved, I can feel the stubble there, and I can feel the hair there now. But it's just like clear, so it just still looks bald. But if you stroke my head, it's actually quite nice. Probably making it bigger myself by keep stroking it.
Well, we said we're going to try and dye his hair anyway to see if it picks it up.
Just
That
put it
way
a
we'll
bit on,
see
just
how much hair is actually growing back there as well.
Yeah. But yeah, since that, I've just had breakdowns after breakdown. Today, I learnt the lesson that I can't be good at everything. And that caused the biggest breakdown ever, because I'm good at everything I do. I'm not amazing at anything I do, but I'm good at everything I do. I'm a jack of all trades, except I've just found a trade that I'm not a jack of, and it's upset me. It's definitely a bit of a blow. I hate admitting that I can't do something, and I've had to admit that I can't do something. That's upset me. So I've had a breakdown about that one today.
So you've had a breakdown this week. I've completed week 6 of the Couch to 5K.
So I've had a breakdown, you've had a run. Terry hasn't broke down, so that's all right.
Yeah,
And the kids have been the kids.
Yeah, the kids have really tested us today.
Summed up our week.
The kids' phrase of the week. It's not really a phrase actually.
It's comical things that have come out the children's faces.
Yeah. So the only thing that I've got, I don't know if you've got something different, but Riley asked us to play a game this week, which we've recorded, but I don't know when that video is coming out. He wanted to play Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Monopoly. Yeah, you know. Bloody Monopoly.
And the thing is, what really, really peed me off about that is he called it Monopoly, and I had a full-blown argument with him that it was Monopoly, and he was adamant it was Monopoly. And then as soon as we started filming to play that game, he was like, yeah, we're going to play Monopoly. I could have swung for him. I was like, mate, you've called it Monopoly this whole time, and now we're going to make a video. You're like, Monopoly. I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he did.
That's what it is.
Purpose,
He was
man.
like, right, I got this.
He didn't want to seem stupid on camera.
Oh,
Do you have anything?
Maggie's been saying fanny a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
Forgot
not
about
because she's
that.
saying fanny, though. It's because she's watching a lot of American things, and they say fanny for bum, because that's their slightly cheeky but not swear word way of saying bum.
Yeah, well, they just say butt. That's usually what they say.
Well, they do, but fanny's also another thing. That's why we have a bum bag. They call a bum bag a fanny pack. So because she's been watching loads of American crap on YouTube, she's been saying fanny loads, which obviously over here has different connotations.
Yes. But yeah, I don't know if that's actually it because she's changed the story so many times.
That's
Apparently
what it
it was
is.
because I said it.
That's
I don't
what
call
is.
it a fanny. I call it a cooch.
Or a
Or a
floof.
foof, you know.
But yeah, it's...
But I
that's-
did say, I said Fanny Ann, didn't I?
You said
something.
Fanny
Or
Ann
Aunt
at some
Fanny.
point.
My Aunt Fanny, something like that. But I've only ever said it once.
No, it'll be because she spends so much time watching Ninja Kids and whoever that geezer is that runs around his house and does stupid
Oh yeah, that new
stuff.
one that they've been into. Oh my god. I
Does-
thought Alfma was bad.
I quite enjoy Alfmail. It's basically little cartoons that they've made themselves on Minecraft.
Yeah.
It depends.
Suppose so.
If you look at it like that, it's great. I
It's
think-
just the voices and the
Oh
screaming.
yeah, but that's
Ugh.
yeah, but that's what kids love in it. It's they're putting on the stupid anime type voices and running around screaming. The kids love it. But you know what they've essentially done is they've used an easy way to make cartoons because they haven't had to animate it
Yeah.
because they've done it through Minecraft and they can build the world how they want to build the world to make their cartoon happen. So I think Alphamouse pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's good that they don't swear or anything on there.
No, exactly.
It's
It's
just the-
kid friendly. It's a kid friendly cartoon that they've managed to manipulate the system to not have to pay animators to make their
Yeah.
cartoons.
I just can't stand the voices in it.
But that new guy, he's like Mr. Beast, but the poor man's version. Because he's like, I'm going to give my friends £1,000 if they can find me the quickest in my garden.
Yeah.
And then hides like most obvious place, and they're all like, we can't possibly find him. All the rest of the videos are so unbearably faked. But either way, they're all American, and they're
Yeah.
saying fanny for butt. Diddly 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 dip. The Carr Clan.
Go on, do it again.
I can't. Willow's asleep. Say it with your chest.
It'd be so funny if this just turns into an ASMR. podcast series because we have to be so quiet. Stop it, that's gross. So yeah, say it with your chest. We went completely off topic there.
Yeah, you can go first. How raw can we go?
I'm gonna stay simple this week, and it's just basically you're snoring.
My snoring?
Yes.
What's wrong with my snoring?
Keeps me awake. That's the problem with it. You say you're not snoring because you're awake.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, you snore when you're awake.
No, it's me relaxing. And it's not that I'm snoring, I'm just not thinking about my breathing. If I'm like that.
Yeah, but it sounds exactly the same as when you're asleep. It's so annoying.
It's nice, it's soothing. You snore.
No, I don't.
You liar. I'm going to film it.
Every night, without fail,
Yeah.
you always go to try anyway to fall asleep on your back, and you always leave your mouth open, and that's when it starts.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to elbow you to get you to roll over, and probably 3 times it takes me, because every time you have a go at me, you say, I'm not asleep.
I'm not. I don't mind you elbowing me to say, roll over now, you fucking snoring bastard. But when I'm not actually asleep, all I need from you, yeah, is, babe, you awake? And I'll go, yeah. And then that's it. I don't
Yeah, but
need.
then you'll carry on, and I can't get to sleep.
I don't need you to go.
I do, because then you can roll over, and then I can get some sleep.
But then I can't.
Yes, you can. You still go to sleep pretty easily on your side.
No, I'm trying to be comfortable.
Is it a man thing? Like the snoring?
No, you snore.
No, look, I mean like proper loud snoring.
You snore.
I don't. I
You do.
don't. If I did,
You're snoring.
you would complain about it, and you don't.
No, I don't complain about it because I know that it's just something that happens and you can't do anything about it. You're asleep. And
How?
Your snoring most of the time is more like this.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
You'll
You're
have
lying.
like my snoring's like.
No, it's loud. Do you know what? As well, you've started sleep talking.
I'm doing it quietly because we've got children in bed. But like mine's a breathe in and then out and then in. Yours is like. Slight exaggeration, but it's like all the snoring I would do in a minute. You do that in like a 3-second gap, and then you're good again for a minute.
I don't believe you. You'll have to record me because I don't believe you.
I will. The problem is you don't know when it's going to happen.
Problem is, you fall asleep before me, so you wouldn't know that I do that when I'm asleep because you're asleep before me.
I
because
get
I always
up
moan
with Willow.
because you are snoring.
I get up with Willow.
Not every night. Only since she's been born.
But yeah, I get up with Willow, so I'll be there. And the amount of times I've felt like putting a pillow over your face and holding it down, because it'll be like, I'll bring her in here, and I'll have her and I'll be giving her a bottle, and then you'll go.
I don't believe you. You're gonna have to record me because I don't believe
But
it.
that's what I don't know when it's going to happen, because you won't do it. You won't do it. Like I could sit there for half an hour and you won't do it, and then suddenly you'll do it. We need to get one of those. I wouldn't want to though, because I guarantee some creepy shit will happen. But we need like one of them cameras, like in Paranormal Activity, that just aims at the bed with the sound on to catch you when you do it. Because
we're not doing that.
I couldn't sit there and just hold a camera on you, filming you for ages. 1, because I would get fed up. 2, because I don't know if the battery would last long enough until you did it. And 3, it's a bit weird. Imagine if you just woke up and I was there with the camera like this.
I'd punch it out the way.
I didn't tell you, did I?
What?
When I was filming my video the other day.
If this is something ghostly, don't tell me.
Okay. So, what?
Oh no.
No, it was kind of ghosty. I say it in the video, but I just didn't tell you about it after. I was playing the game, yeah, and a cat jumped off the stall that's under there down the side by me, and I went.
Was it a black cat?
And yeah, and there was no cat.
Oh my god.
And there was no cat, and then about 15-20 minutes later, it jumped off and went down the back way, and I looked down again, and there was no cat.
I've seen a black cat
Yeah.
so many times. Just
I'm on
wandering
the
around
video. I'm on the
my
video
way.
playing the game, and I went. The cat just jumped down there. Like you can watch the videos back. We'll when I can be bothered to get you to edit it, we'll upload
Oh my
it. But
God.
yeah, twice
Do you know
twice in
what?
the time I was filming.
We should just do a section on all the fucking shit that goes on in this house.
Anyway, so that should be for me that I snored.
Yeah.
That's what you got to get off your chest with me
Yeah,
that
so
I
it was
snored.
just, yeah.
How raw can we go?
If there's anything to do with my fanny to know.
It's not to do with your fanny. Oh God, you gotta leave that bit in. It's to do with your fanny. I don't call it a fanny. We just had a conversation when you said I
that's why
don't
I
call
called
it.
it a fanny, because it's a joke. Tit.
And I'm playing back on the joke. Tit.
Come on then. What is it?
So my problem with you this week is that you think I'm arguing when I'm just trying to get an understanding of what the problem is. I'm like, what's the problem? What are the rules based around this situation so that we don't have this problem in the future? And you're like, just shut up about it. And I'm like, but I don't want to have this problem anymore. Like, I need to make sure this isn't a problem that happens ever again. And you're like, why are you still going on about it? Because you've had a problem with me, and I need to make sure I'm not a problem again. And you're like, but it's been a problem because you won't shut up. And then, eventually, I'll give in, and there'll be no answer to it. And then, 2 days later, it'll happen again. And it'll just go circling around.
Give me an example of when this has happened.
Just about 30 minutes ago.
You can't say that, because it hasn't been 2 days and I haven't brought it back up.
You will. Your next podcast, you'll do it again.
Right. So, in my defence, right,
Go on then.
when you do something that either pisses me off or upsets me,
Yep.
what's the word?
Act irrational.
No.
Yep.
I digest what's happened.
You don't.
I do.
You don't.
I digest what's happened by giving me time to chill out, which is something you never do. You always make us deal with it there and then, and
Because
that's not the type
we
of
will
person
never
I
deal
am.
with it. Because you don't deal with it.
I do.
No.
I just have to deal with it when I've calmed down.
No, because then you will have calmed down, and I'll go, right, so what's the crack with it? You're bringing it back up again! That's what will happen.
That's because there's not been enough time.
Your way when you've calmed down 6 months later, why are you bringing up old shit? Like, your way of dealing with things is to just go away, not talk about it, be angry to yourself, calm down, and then don't ever fucking talk about it again.
No, that's not true. We
That is
talk
true.
about it after.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
We
Because
don't.
if we talk about it there and then, all we do is shout at each other.
But
I like to go off, chill, come back, and then talk.
name me one time that's ever happened.
Every time we broke up.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, it has.
No, it hasn't.
It has.
No, it hasn't.
It's going to happen now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Go on then. You're going to calm down and talk about it. Let's go. Calm down
No.
quick. Talk about it.
Takes me a little while to calm down, mate.
It doesn't. And you know it doesn't. We will never talk about it because if I bring it up, I'm a dick and I'm trying to start an argument and you will never bring it up.
It's not true.
Why are you smiling while you say it then? When we look me in the eyes
Yeah, I have
And
been
tell-
this whole time.
and you've been smirking the whole time. Look at you. You're lying.
I'm not lying.
This is exactly what... If Riley come up to you and you went, did you eat those sweets? And he did that, you go, you're a liar.
I'm not 7.
No, but you still behave that way in these situations because all you can do is laugh when you've been caught out.
Well, I just don't like having confrontations. I don't like us arguing, but it happens all the time.
Because you start it.
I don't start it. You start it. You're starting it now. Diddle 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 did the Carr clan.
Please tell me this is my favourite bit of the show.
The show.
Yes, this is the show. Yes, it is. It's Don't Call Me an Idiot. So this week, there was 2, but one of them I was an idiot. And it happened today, and I was going to write it down in my notepad thing that I've downloaded onto my phone so that I can write these things. And I thought, oh, we're doing the podcast this evening, I'll remember. And I can't remember it for the life of me. So yeah, there was 2, but I've only got 1. And your one happened the other day, and you got real annoyed with me because I called you an idiot again. You told me off for getting stuff on the tap and said, wash your hands before you touch things. Stuff got on the tap because I was washing my hands. How do I turn the tap on without touching the tap to wash my hands?
Use the bottom bit here.
I had
Move
stuff
it.
everywhere. Like, our tap is too far back to be elbowing. I have to touch the tap to wash my hands.
That's not an idiot thing.
That was an idiot thing.
No, it's
the
not.
way you said it was an idiot thing. You were like, wash your hands before you touch things. Talking about the taps. How do I wash my hands before I touch the taps?
Alright.
And that's the end of that section.
What you can do though is clean it after. You never clean anything after
probably
you've been...
could.
Every time you've been cooking.
Excuse me.
Excuse
me. You've done one getting it off your chest.
Oh.
You want to keep it. You keep
Can
it for
I
next
please just
week.
make this point? Because
You keep it.
It's to do with it.
No, you keep it, and you keep it good. You can use it next week. You're not using it this week. You've already had one.
We might have to change to doing this like 2 a week or something. At least.
Just for this section. Just for that section.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to get real good with these. Don't call me an idiot.
Oh my god. But anyway, is that my idiocy done?
That's your
with
idiocy
for today?
done for today.
Good.
The crack.
On to the questions and the answers.
Nobody was able to answer a question that we asked because somebody cut it out, despite the fact that it was a required question. Don't call me an idiot.
Okay, that question was, what would you guys like to be called? What would you like to be referred to as? I said the Clannies. Don't laugh. And he said the CCs.
The CCs.
CCs sounds
The
stupid.
Clanians.
Clanians. Questions from the Clannies. Clannies or Clanians? Clannies or Clanians?
Clanians is way better than Clannies. I hate Clannies.
I like Clannies.
It sounds...
We'll let them decide. So, we've had a few questions come in this week. First one, which is a nice question, I suppose.
A nice question.
Yeah, compared to the others I've had.
Okay, go on then.
What's your favourite memory together before the kids and after? Before the kids, probably when we went to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Not just because you proposed to me, but because it was our first and last holiday alone.
So bad. Proposing to you wasn't a great memory. Because I remember it for what it was, not what happened. Because I was so nervous about proposing for so long. Like, I literally carried the ring in my pocket from the day we got there until when I eventually proposed. Like, every night when we went to that restaurant, it was in my pocket.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, go on, no, wrong time. And then, like, the one time I was about to, and then some pissed up people come past, and I was like, well, that just fucking killed it, didn't it?
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then multiple times while we were out on that day as well. And then there was a moment where we were... So, you know, this sounds really nice. So we were in front of the Barcelona Cathedral, weren't we?
Yeah.
And then you was looking at it, and then I got down, and then you was like, ah! And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that was all lovely. Literally where you are from me now, there was an overflowing bin with like 100 wasps buzzing around it. Like, that's the only, even though there was that, that's the thing that I remember. It's almost like, you know, when you take a picture, and you take a picture of something really nice, but for some reason the autofocus has decided it's going to focus on something here.
Yeah.
It's almost like that, because I was so nervous about doing it. I had like a out-of-body experience almost. And all I can see is this blue bin that's overflowing with crap falling out of it and wasps buzzing around it. Like, that's my...
So why did you propose there then?
because
we were around the other side of the cathedral.
I didn't see the bin until the out of body bit started to happen. I was like, this is lovely. Look, it's nice weather. Like, because you're like this, you're like, wow, the cathedral's there, the weather's lovely. William, there's a bin.
I didn't notice the bin until after. I was in shock. I was not expecting it at all.
But yeah, that was so. Yeah, it was amazing, and the rest of the day was absolutely fantastic.
Mm.
And we had a real good holiday. But like from that moment, that's the bit that's burnt into my brain.
Mm.
Just an overflowing bin with wasps pouring out of it. Oh. No, it was like an omen.
Well, we'll see. So after having the kids, it's quite hard to choose, really.
Best us memory from having the kids. Getting married. I mean, that wasn't all the kids, but we got one of them.
I suppose so.
If we're going to go off all the kids, we've got a very, very short list of memories to go with. Butlins, that's the only real memory we've done. If we're going to go from having all the kids.
Yeah.
Because we've been in lockdown, so we haven't really been anywhere to do anything.
And we've only had three kids for 3 months.
Yeah. So, Butlins is the only answer to that. I'll go next.
Yeah.
So you've gone with the nicey.
Yeah.
What's your end of the world meal? One meal. What would you choose?
Oh, that's not something you can just throw at people.
I didn't throw it at you, I asked you.
No, I mean, like, that's not a question you can just ask and then just expect an answer like that.
Why?
Because I've never thought about it before.
You've never thought about if you picked your favourite meal. I know what you'd have.
I don't have a favourite meal.
I know what you'd have. Right? You'd if the whoever it is that's making the end of the world happen bought a massive menu and put like everything in front of you, you'd be like, oh, they've got this here. It's in that, yeah. They've got duck. When they've got that, I'll have lasagna. You know that's why it doesn't. I don't even know why you're pretending.
That was in my head.
If anybody said anything, you just go, I'll have lasagna. Your meal would be lasagna.
You'd have to be the best lasagna in the world, though.
It wouldn't matter. You'd be dead in a minute.
What about you?
It changes from time, like depending on when you ask me. If you ask me again in a month's time, it'll be a different answer. Right now, it'll be like just a massive trough of minted lamb.
Oh, gross.
I'm obsessed with lamb at the minute, and I don't know why. But if you'd have asked me like 2 months ago, it would have been crispy duck and pancakes.
Chinese.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Why not? I've got a story for you based on that one.
What, Chinese?
With a question at the end of it.
Okay. Yeah. Is this for me?
Yeah, so the question, the story will be my story.
Yeah.
And then the question at the end will be for you.
Okay.
And then anybody who wants to answer it can comment below. If you're watching the YouTube one, I don't know how the streaming services work. I'm going to assume that you can't comment on those. So go over to the YouTube and then ask us, or jump on our socials and answer it on there. So, I would have been 16 at the time.
Okay.
Just turned 16.
That was a few decades ago.
No.
It's a joke.
1 and 5. 1.5 even.
1 and 5.
1 decade.
6 decades ago.
one decade and 5 years. But yeah, 1 and 5. Oh, I'm 32. Shit, 1 and 6.
You just lost a year.
When did that happen? But yeah, I just turned 16 because it was when Spain were in the process of changing the legal drinking age, because it was 16 prior and they were looking at just making it 18. And we went over in the weird time, so I was still allowed to drink, but only in certain places and if I was with my parents. Because they were like, oh, we don't want to break the rules, but we don't really know what the rules are. So yeah, I just turned 16. We ate everything while we were over there. Like, tried all of the Spanish foods. We found this amazing restaurant, and like the waiter in there was in there on the first day, and he was in there every time we went, and he just got to know us, and we tried everything.
Yeah.
On the last night, we were just like, should we just have a Chinese? Oh, go on then, we'll just have a Chinese. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll just have a Chinese. So we went and found this little Chinese restaurant. When we got there, bearing in mind, going back when I was 16, the euro was about 50 pence. Whereas now it's not far off a pound.
Yeah.
But at the time it was 50 pence. And for... I'm trying to think of something that we have. So like the sweet and sour chicken Cantonese style.
Yeah.
We pay like what, about 6 quid, 5-6 quid for that?
I don't know, you're the one that always pays.
So over there, on the menu, it was like €3.50. Which, if you come back over here, is like £1.75.
Wow.
So we were like, these portions are going to be small. So we ordered 2 of everything that we'd normally eat. Now, I'm not kidding. When they brought the prawn crackers out, they were in literally like a carrier bag. Not those little plastic, not those little bags that they put them in. A proper shopping carrier bag. And we got 4 of those. When we had to walk back to the room, we had 2 bin bags full of food. The chicken balls, they come over here, you get them in like 6 or 10s.
Yeah.
They were literally in bags of like 30.
That's one portion?
Yeah.
30 chicken balls?
It's just like 30 chicken balls in a bag. They come in a... So, you know over here, they come in the little brown paper bags.
Yeah.
And then everything normally comes in the bigger brown paper bag and they put it all in.
Yeah.
The chicken balls over there were in the big brown paper bag. And then the big brown paper bag had to go in a bin bag.
Oh my god.
So it was horrendous amounts of food. And this is when I was...
How long did it take for them to complete your order?
Not long.
Really?
Yeah, not long. Like, we ordered it and 15 minutes.
Fucking hell.
And it was ready to go back with.
What part of Spain did you go to?
Not far from Barcelona.
We need to get there.
It was a place called Javier. But obviously now it's bumped up to the euros a pound, so it's not as cheap. It was still cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was absolutely unbelievable. And this is when... I don't want to say I had an eating disorder, but I had an eating disorder where I couldn't let food go to waste. Like, I was horrendous. Say, for example, if we have KFC,
Yeah.
yeah, and you have your drumstick, and I look at that and go, I could probably get 3 mouthfuls of chicken still off that drumstick. I would have took the drumstick off your plate and finished it. Because I couldn't have let that food go to waste.
Okay.
So we now have, like, there's, how many of us would there have been? There'd have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 of us. I was the oldest of the kids, and I was like 16. And then my brother would have been 12, 13 maybe. And then the other 2 was a bit younger. And then 2 adults. So really there's 3 adults and 3 kids.
Yeah.
And we had got 12 people's food. Yeah, about 12 people's worth of food. And I sat and just ate a lot. I was physically making myself feel ill. I was eating and eating. I had 36 chicken balls on top of all the other food that I was eating as well.
God.
And when I got up in the morning, I was the illest I've ever been. Like, worse than any hangover I've ever had in my life. I was horrendously bad.
What, throwing up?
Not at first, but I felt like it. I had to jump in the sea for something. I can't remember what it was. I think one of the other kids had dropped their ball in. And it was like cliffs that we'd been jumping off into the sea anyway. So I jumped off into the sea to get the ball back. And then as soon as I got out of the sea, I just threw up everywhere. And I felt loads better. But we were flying back that day as well. So I was like chucking up and stuff from eating too much food. So that was, yeah, that was my story. Now, the follow-on question from it is, have you ever eaten that much food that you've woken up ill? Not had food poisoning, but just from eating too much.
No, I don't think I have.
No.
No.
Just me. You never had...
I've eaten so much that it's made me really full. Actually, since being with you at the Harvester.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone back to yours or your mum's and just passed out and slept for hours because we were that full.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never eaten that much that I've been ill the next day.
I passed full. I was full like 45 minutes before I stopped eating. And then in the morning still ate some because there was some leftover bits.
Oh my god. No wonder you were sick.
Oh yeah, I was so ill. So when we came back to England, I didn't eat Chinese and again properly until I was about 19, 20, because I couldn't. We actually lived down the road from a Chinese, and when they opened on an evening and they kicked everything off, the smell used to come out and I couldn't go outside of my own house for like a year after 6 o'clock, because if I was outside my house I would throw up. So have you ever eaten something that you loved to the point where you can't even smell it anymore?
I think I have, but I can't think what that food was. I think it's from when I was pregnant. I was like, I can't even stand the smell of it. But I can't think what it is.
You'll remember in 2 days. Like,
Yeah,
can we go and re-record the podcast? Which toppers are we wearing?
I don't like it when you ask.
Memory-based questions.
Yeah, I don't like it when you ask
Don't
questions
ask me to remember my
about
life.
past things because my brains don't work when it comes to stuff like
That's
this.
fine then.
And it's going to bother me now for ages because I can remember being like, oh, I can't even handle that smell. But
Feet.
then that wasn't because I'd eaten it so much that I've gone off it.
That wasn't. It was just
I
because you
think
went off it because of being
I
pregnant.
think so.
Ice?
You don't smell ice.
You can.
You can't.
Ice has a smell.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Maybe if it's like flavoured.
Flavoured ice.
Yeah.
No, like an ice lol. No,
Yeah.
ice has a smell.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, cold has a smell. You can smell cold.
You're weird.
I'm not weird.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's clear this one up. Who's the weird one here? Can you smell cold?
No.
You can smell cold? I wasn't asking you. I was asking the people listening and watching. You mean drink a cup of tea? What do you do with your tongue?
I put it on the edge of the mug.
On the underside?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you do with yours?
I don't know. I realised, you know, when you were in there
Yeah.
dealing with Willow, and
Yeah.
I was sitting here just looking at a computer, I started drinking my cup of tea, and I was very aware that I didn't know where I put my tongue.
But yeah, I put my tongue on the outside.
I think I put mine on top.
That's really weird.
I think. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. After watching myself drinking, and I thought about it, I don't know how I do it.
Well, you can't really see. It's what
But
you feel.
No, but like I was
Or
looking.
do it and then move your tongue to where it is.
Yeah, they all feel wrong now. That's my point. I was looking at myself in the camera, like on the screen, drinking, and then I was like, "Where's your tongue at?" And then now everything feels wrong. It's like, you know, when you're lying in bed, and your toes feel like they're not lined up right anymore, and you try and wiggle them, and they never feel like they're sitting where you would normally have your toes
Yeah.
sitting. It's like that, but when I try and drink my tea now, I don't know what I'm doing with my tongue. I think I put my tongue on hot, and I hurt, and then I use it like a straw. That's the way that feels the least weird, but that sounds the most weird when I say it. Questions from Nathan.
Yeah. Is there anything else in here? One person to stay with you in this end of the world scenario.
Does it
One
have to be
person,
somebody
who would you
how
choose?
long for?
End of the world, innit?
Yeah, but fucking me pick one. How long is it till I'm going to die?
I don't know. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Doesn't matter who it is, then, does it? You.
Thanks.
It doesn't matter, does it?
Why does it have to be one person? You can't say one person when you've got 3 kids.
Well, that's the thing. If it's one person, I'd probably pick you, because I wouldn't want to have to pick one of the kids over
Yeah.
the others. So I'd just pick you, and then we could just cry about the fact that the kids had already been killed by the end of the world situation for 5 minutes, and then we could die together. Whereas if it was like...
How morbid.
Yeah,
God.
no. Whereas if it was like in the end of the world, you know, the one with Seth Rogen and all that lot.
Yeah.
Like if it was that type scenario where I'm going to be stuck there for a while, I probably wouldn't pick you. I'd probably pick.
I'm feeling the love.
I'd probably pick someone like Kevin Hart or something, because I feel like he'd be able to keep morale up a bit till we died.
I'm pretty sure he wouldn't pick you.
It's not who would they pick. I'm picking, not them.
Okay.
Do we get the people that they pick as well? Or do we just get the one
I don't
person?
know.
Because we could beat the system here. I could pick you could pick Maggie could pick Riley could pick Willow. Willow can't pick anybody because she can't talk.
No.
She'd pick me.
Okay. Sorted.
Chain picking.
Another one. We've had a question on the podcast from last week by Dan's Martin. She says, we have 77 sleeps to go till our Butlins holiday. Can you please do a video about booking restaurants activities before you went and the COVID restrictions that were in place when you were there this time? We are going for the CBB/Justin Fletcher break with our 2 minis. Because we didn't have a lot of experience with booking with the restaurants and the activities, really. We can't really do a video on it, but we'll answer questions about it now, just so...
Yeah, because it wouldn't be a full video as well.
Yeah.
In regards to restaurants, we only went to the one, and it would have been...
Burger King is in there, but I don't...
Does Burger King count? Burger King
Yeah,
doesn't
something.
count.
I don't know if it counts as the restaurant, but...
Burger King's fine. You can go
it's
there
like a
at any
takeaway
point.
thing, yeah.
You just walk in and gives a burger.
Although the
and they
queues
gives a
did get
burger.
pretty bad sometimes.
They went down real quick. But in regards to as an actual restaurant, we only went to one, and it could possibly have been a nightmare, but it wasn't, and they were really good.
Yeah, it was the Beachcomber Inn, the one with the big play area outside.
Right opposite Splash Water
Yeah,
World thing.
yeah, that one.
And when we got there, he was telling the person in front that it was going to be at least an hour wait, and then that they actually probably wouldn't even be able to get in because we didn't book. We just showed
we didn't
up.
book. Because we went with John and Natasha, they'd already been a day or two before, hadn't they? And they managed to just walk in. They didn't book either.
It's based on the
depends
times.
on what time, yeah.
It does depend on what time. It's again, if you're going to go 3-4 o'clock, you're going to just walk in.
Yeah.
If you're going to go 5-6 o'clock, well, everybody wants dinner at 5-6 o'clock,
Yeah.
so you're probably not going to get in.
We got on there like 7, didn't we?
Yeah, we got the, no, it wasn't quite that late. Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, it would have been about 7 because they stopped serving food at half 8.
Yeah.
And he said, if I haven't gotten you in by 8 o'clock, you won't be coming in.
Yeah.
But then we actually got in there by like 7:30, 22,
Yeah, we
8.
did. And there wasn't just one person in front of us. I think there was 3 families in front of us.
But the guy that was on the door was fantastic.
Yeah, he
and
was.
he said, you know, he told us what the situation was. He said, I'm still waiting on 2 dine around groups that have premium plan members or whatever it was that have already got booking. Still waiting on 2 groups of those. So if they come, people are going to go in before you. It's not because it's favouritism, it's because they've already got the seats.
Yeah.
And then he come up and there was a group after us and he said to them, I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure you guys can get in, but anybody that comes after you, they're going to have to be turned away.
Yeah.
And then some people came and he was like, unfortunately we're fully booked and there's no way anybody's getting in after these people. And they kicked off. And I can kind of understand where they're coming from because you want to go and have food.
Yeah.
But you haven't booked. You've turned up 20 minutes before they close and expected them to be able to seat you.
Yeah.
You can be angry with the person on the door or the people as much as you like. That's not going to help the situation.
No, it's not their
that you brought
fault.
on yourself.
I mean, I can see the logic behind it. Like, the later you go, there's probably less chance of people going to go for food at that time.
But when it's busy, there's less chance people are going to go for food then, but they're going to be there.
Yeah.
If you want to just be able to just walk in, you've got to go when it opens for the food at that point because less people want it earlier on. So that's the food situation.
Yeah. And we were a group of 9 then as well, so we were really lucky to be able to be seated at all, to be honest.
There's also everywhere...
And together.
Yeah, there's also everywhere around Butlins, like outside of Butlins itself, around Minehead.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, you can't get anywhere. I literally phoned up Brewers Fair and said, there's 9 of us, can you get us in? And he was like, when? I was like, sometime in the next hour. And it was like an hour and 20 minutes later we could be there.
Yeah.
But when we got there, it was still relatively quiet, so a smaller group could have just walked in.
Yeah.
There'd have been no problem.
in regards to the activities that you book, we never ever book any of the ones that you have to pay for because we don't see the point in doing that. But
we struggle to do the free ones half the time because the day gets that full of doing stuff.
Yeah, it does. I don't know if that's because of how it is now or just because it's not just the actual show times, it's the queuing up before and the staying there after, because as soon as it finishes, you don't just leave straight away, usually. But we tried to book at least one of each Skyline Gang show and a show in Centre Stage, and like the little ones that they now have in Studio 36. A lot of things we couldn't book. Not at a reasonable time, I suppose. We managed to book things for 9:45 on the night, but we still managed to get in on things we didn't book. So like Jono and Natasha went to see they went to see the Skyline Gang Wild West show either earlier or later than what we had booked it, but we went in with them anyway.
We didn't go in with them. Well, the kids went in.
Yeah, the kids went in with them, sorry, and we queued up on the side.
And we got in, and we were still sat right by them.
Yeah.
And
there wasn't even actually people either side, I don't think, either. No.
The booking app is basically there as what the old Beeline thing was, except you don't have to pay for it. Do you remember the Beeline?
No.
So the Beeline was you could pay for a premium thing. So the Beeline, you could go in first, like into Centre Stage.
Oh,
There's actually the door that says Beeline on it.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
So that's for people that have paid extra to be allowed to go in first to pick their seats.
Yeah.
That's basically all the booking app is now. It's to be able to go in first and pick your seats. Especially if you're Skyline. If you're in the Skyline, I didn't see one show where there wasn't at least 3 rows of tables still available.
Yeah. No, I think it was like in any of the venues we went to. Maybe when it was like Musicals Rock in Centre Stage, that one was pretty full.
There was still loads of seats and we went in late.
Yeah, we did. Well,
we went in literally as it was starting.
Yeah.
So we didn't go... And we still got a half decent seat, really.
Yeah, it was alright.
It wasn't like...
It was still like in the front section, but it was like right on the side, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because obviously it fills up from the middle outwards, doesn't it? So we weren't in a horrendous seating.
No. You'll see on the Butlins vlogs.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that's all the booking system is. It's basically the Beeline but free.
Yeah.
If you don't manage to book anything on it, don't worry. You can still get in. You're just not going to be at the front. I can't really comment on school holidays.
Yeah,
I would assume it's busier.
Because we never go when it's school holidays. We always...
It's far too expensive.
Yeah. Way too expensive.
I'd rather risk having to pay the £50 fine.
But in regards to the last section of what was it like with the COVID restrictions, it wasn't that bad at all.
It was weird because they told Jono and Natasha that if they didn't wear their masks, they were going to be escorted off site and asked to leave completely.
Yeah.
But then half the people there weren't wearing masks.
But like aside from hand gel and mask wearing, everything was the same.
And obviously you've got the going into the shows a bit different.
Yeah. You have to scan the NHS tracker thing.
If you weren't booked in.
Yeah.
If you were booked in, you didn't need to do any of that. Just show your booking and away you go. The only thing that I hated about it was the arcade was made into some weird mazy one-way system thing because...
Nobody stuck to the one-way system anyway.
Nobody stuck to it anyway. It's so hard to follow because if you're playing on a game and then you look up, there's just flashing lights and you just walk and other people are walking this direction. And if you're on this machine here and you want to go to the 2p machine that's 3 machines this way, you're not going to walk all the way around the arcade, out the arcade, back in the arcade. You just walk and get... Same as if you need your 2p's. If your 2p machines that way, you're going to go that way and get them.
Kids nowhere near stuck to that rule as well.
Not a single...
Kids wouldn't.
That's one of the things that upsets me the most about the current Butlins is that the kids aren't allowed to do the dancing.
Yeah.
Well, they are allowed to do the dancing, but you have to dance by your desk, by your
table.
by your table,
Yeah,
by your
they're
desk.
not allowed to
But
go
yeah.
up to the stage or dance with other kids there either.
And not having pictures with the Skyline Gang.
Yeah.
Like
Not even being able to give them a hug or anything, like, or
Yeah,
high
that was-
fives.
That was weird when we went just before it all kicked off.
Yeah, last March.
Yeah, because the Skyline Gang was still walking through then as well to go back to the back, and kids were running up, and obviously Candy hugs everybody,
Yeah.
and the kids were running up to give her a hug, and she was like, ah! Like kick feet, like it's just yeah.
It must be really weird for them as well.
Mm-hmm. I would hate to be a redcoat right now.
Mm.
I would love to be a redcoat, but right now I'd hate it because they're essentially crap security guards.
Yeah.
That's all they are right now. Essentially a crap security guard. Obviously, they're still lovely and they'll still talk to the kids and stuff, but the whole thing with the redcoats was doing the kids' disco and being an entertainer, and they did the circus things and all that kind of stuff. And now they literally stand on the door and go, "You booked. Get in that queue then if you haven't booked. Scan that. Have a good time." Obviously they're friendlier than that, but that's essentially they are essentially a TGI Fridays security guard. Hi, have you got your booking? Yeah, go in. And that's it. At least the Skyline Gang still get to do what they do.
Yeah.
They just don't get the interaction with the kids and seeing how much the kids love it.
Yeah.
That's got to be hard as well. But at least they still get to do what they do, whereas the redcoats are just crap doormen.
Yeah. Like, that might be the reason why they didn't do dance with us, the Skyline Gang.
It would have been because the kids aren't allowed to get up and dance.
No.
Imagine them going, "Come and dance with us! Dance with us! Stay in your seat!" Like, it just mixed signals or what? The long and short of it is, it's still butlins. You're going to have the fun that you make of it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about shows.
Don't cancel your holiday.
Yeah,
a lot of
don't
people have
cancel your
done that.
holiday.
Don't do it.
Although, let the other people cancel their holidays because it just means there'll be more bookings for you.
Yeah. Take advantage of it that way, I suppose.
It's just do. It's still butlins. You're going to have a great time. Well, you're going to have the time that you make of it.
Yeah. Don't get pissed off with the fact that you got to wear masks and you got to go one way if people have a go at you for doing it, because that's just the way life is at the minute. Hopefully, if next week still goes ahead, it might be different. Boris might let us not have to wear masks anymore and not have to book anything anymore.
But yeah, it's still butlins. You can have a great time. Do what you enjoy yourself. You're going to make of it what you make of it. If you go in with a sour face, you're going to have a sour time. Whereas if you go in enjoying it, you're going to have a lovely time. Don't worry about booking things. You can go into 99.9% of them without being booked in. Swimming, you can go every day.
Yeah.
You can only book once in advance, but you can go every day. The queue just flies down. So yeah, butlins, hey, it's different, but it's the same.
Yeah. I hope that, like, when you go, everything's back to normal, though.
The Carr Clan. Right then, guys, thank you for listening to episode 2 of the Carr Clan podcast.
He's been him.
She's been her, as usual. Jeez. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. I don't know how these things work, to be honest with you, at this point still.
On YouTube, like and subscribe. But we're also available on Anchor, Spotify and Pocket Cast, I think is the other one at the minute. We have been distributed to others, but none of them have accepted as of yet.
So yeah, go to those and do the relevant things that they're their equivalents of like and subscribe. And then if you're on YouTube, click the notifications because subscriptions mean nothing on here anymore. And drop down comments, answer any of the things we've asked you. I don't know what she's going to edit out, so I'm not going to bring the actual specifics up here, but answer things we've asked you and get involved. Drop us your questions, your stories. Come on, stories are the best bit.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been able to respond to my own story, but it was my story, so I couldn't. So, yeah, get some of those stories in. You can message us on our socials, which are pretty much the Carr Clan on everything, isn't it?
Yeah, the Carr Clan on...
But we're not on Twitter, because I don't understand it and she won't make a Twitter.
I don't understand Twitter.
we're
I ain't
not
making
on
Twitter
Twitter.
just for that. But yeah, Instagram and Facebook.
The Carr Clan, drop us a message or comment on one of our things with a story. If you want us to keep you anonymous, drop us a message, because obviously everybody can read your story if you put it on a post. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Diddly 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 dip. The Carr Clan.